Hello everyone, I'm Eddie Riccardi, your relocation specialist in Lisbon, Portugal. And today I want to be sharing with you the answer to the 14 of the most frequently asked questions we receive. Stay tuned. My team and I receive messages every day from people just like you wanting to move to Lisbon, Portugal. And we love it. Be that in a month or a year from now, it's never too early to start planning. Click on the link below to schedule a Zoom call with us so we can further discuss how we can assist you and your family with relocating and investing in Lisbon. Question number 1, is Lisbon a walkable city? Yes, Lisbon is very much a walkable city. Although Greater Lisbon, it's quite a large city as a whole, the tendency that you have is to stay within your own neighborhoods, your own surroundings. And to most expats, really, you were in the central historical part or in the surroundings of it. So you can't really be anywhere, 5, 15, 30 minutes is a really long walk. With this said, it's important to remind you that if you're in the old part of Lisbon, there is a lot of hills, ups and downs. So perhaps not very walkable if you have mobility issues, but there are neighborhoods within that area, within the central area, like Avenidas Novas and Campo de Ourique, that are flat. So even if you have mobility issues, you will have a very walkable lifestyle. So the answer to that question, yes, Lisbon is a very walkable city. Question number 2, is Lisbon a safe city to live? This is a very easy one to answer. Yes, Lisbon is extremely safe to live for residents of all ages. And let's not forget that to this day, Portugal is also voted as one of the safest countries in the world. Question number 3, do you need to own a car in Lisbon? The answer to that is depends. For most people, no, you do not need a car to live in Lisbon. Public transportation, it's reasonably good. They do have the metro system, but depending on where you live. Uber is readily available, and public transportation is also really affordable. With this said, for some people, the need of a car, if you have a family, if you like to do multiple day trips a week, right? If you want to go surfing, if you have things that you do outside of the city, then perhaps you will want to have a car. But generally speaking, if you're a city person, if you're living in central Lisbon and occasional trips outside of the city are not frequent, I wouldn't recommend having a car since Ubers are so affordable, even for trips to the beach, trips to Sintra. So the answer to that, it really depends, but the majority of people living in central Lisbon, the answer to that is no, you would not need a car to live in Lisbon. Question number 4, is it easy to make friends in Lisbon? Another easy one to answer. Very easy to make friends in Lisbon. Regardless of the time that you're moving here, there's so much networking, there's just so much events that are open to the public. And people are generally quite friendly and open to making new friends. So in general, generally speaking, I feel most of the residents here feel as I do. It is extremely easy to make new friends living in Lisbon. Reason number 5, do you need to speak Portuguese to live in Lisbon? The answer to that is no, you don't really need to speak Portuguese to live in Lisbon today. However, it's highly recommended that you do, and it's best to start learning the sooner the later, just to facilitate, to integrate better. But realistically speaking, I've been in Lisbon for 3 years now, and you can live really, really comfortably without having to speak it. But again, the recommendation is do your best, learn a little. Question number 6, which is the best area to live in Lisbon? This is something that we get asked a lot, and this is why it's so important to have a good relocation professional assist you from the beginning. Very complicated question to answer, as it is very personal to your lifestyle what the best neighborhood for you to live in. So best to contact your relocation professional to really discuss what could be the most suitable neighborhood for you and your family. Question number 7, what is the weather like in Lisbon? Generally speaking, it is sunny. It is expected that Lisbon have 300 plus days of sunshines every year. Tend to be moderate with hot summers and not so cold winters. And I guess that not so cold winters really depends where you're coming from. Me coming from most of my life spending in Canada, I find that low 10 degrees Celsius. In the winter, it's actually quite warm and pleasant. Summers, to be honest, not as hot as I expected to be. I think Lisbon benefits from being by the water and being in hills. You always, if you find a shade, even at the peak of summer in July and August, you will be cool. You know, it will not be as hot as I have experienced summers in places like Italy, France, or Spain. Question number 8, is it easy to travel around Lisbon and within the European continent? Answer to this question is, it is fairly easy to travel within Europe and around Lisbon. The roads, when you're talking about around Lisbon, the roads are very good, mostly privatized. Really good roads to travel around Lisbon. Traveling within Lisbon with a very central airport and fly to most capitals in Europe, very convenient. The one negative point of Lisbon when it comes to travel within Europe, that is not connected, not linked to the rest of Europe in a way of fast trains. Question number 9, is Lisbon gay friendly? The answer to that question is that yes, Lisbon is very gay friendly. Portugal as a whole is a very welcoming and tolerant country. So yes, if you are from the LGBT community, you can feel safe and feel confident that you'll be welcomed in this beautiful country. Question number 10, is it easy to find a place to live in Lisbon? That's a quite complex question, and I'll divide them between rentals and purchasing. Right now, finding a quality rental in Lisbon can be a bit challenging. It does require a little bit of time and just setting the expectations to the reality of the budget. But with all of this, it is quite easy to rent a place in Lisbon as an expat, as a foreign, coming from North America, Northern Europe especially. They do understand that we're very serious and that we're very, generally speaking, very responsible with paying our rent. So no, it is not difficult. It is just setting the reality to the expectations. When it comes to purchasing, it's really a matter of time and learning the style that you're after. When you get here, there's such a difference of homes. When you come from North America, we tend to have very newer homes. And by newer, I mean up to 100 years old, 50, 70 years old. Here you can encounter homes from the 1700s, from the 1800s, with uniqueness that you're not familiar with yet. So it might take a little bit of time to find the perfect home in Portugal, as it is a learning process to find out what really is the ideal home for you when buying your home in Portugal. So no, it is not difficult, just different than you might be accustomed to and a bit more time consuming. But this is what we're here for. We're here to help you from the beginning stages, either from the rental or the buying phase, to really help you make the best decision in as smooth way as possible. Question number 11, what is the job market like in Lisbon? The answer to this question can be complex and it really depends on where you're coming from. Generally speaking, the majority of people that are relocating to Lisbon right now are either relocating with business ideas, with the idea of fulfilling a dream of starting something and realize this is the perfect place to do that right now. The other reality is the majority of people that are moving here are keeping their jobs, are keeping their companies, their source of income, where it is that they're coming from. And with this said, with this shared, I find it quite complicated today and cannot give you a very complete answer on finding a job here. Moving here with the idea, okay, I'm gonna arrive in Lisbon, I'm gonna arrive in Portugal and look for a job. I would probably advise against it, unless you already have something set up with an idea of the company you're gonna work for, you already in negotiation of what the salary is gonna be, where you're gonna live. I would keep relocating to Portugal at this moment to those that are maintaining their jobs or are coming with ideas of starting their companies, starting their business here, as it is a very promising place to be. Question number 12. Is Lisbon as bureaucratic as they say it is? And I guess with this question you're asking, is Portugal and Lisbon as bureaucratic as they say it is? And the answer to that is likely so. It is important to know though that you're not dealing with those systems that are highly bureaucratic at all times. You deal a fair bit when you move here, and then occasionally as you need things like a driver's license. I haven't got to the passport phase yet, but I'm sure when you get to that, there's a bit of bureaucracy. banking, financing, all of those things that might not be as streamlined as we're accustomed to, and by not streamlined, quite bureaucratic. But the reality is you're dealing with those things not frequent enough to affect the way you live. And by personal experience, the days you do, you might want to bang your head against the wall a little bit, you might want to cry, scream, have an extra glass of wine, but those days are just not very frequent to bother how I feel and how much I love living in Lisbon. Question number 13, are the Portuguese people friendly? And yes, this is a very easy question to answer. The Portuguese people are very friendly. They're welcoming, they're warm, they're tolerant. They might be reserved at times. They're not, sometimes they're not the most outgoing. They're more lively when they're outside of their group of friends and family. But in all aspects of living here, my answer is the Portuguese people are extremely friendly, welcoming, warm, and tolerant. Question number 14, is it expensive to live in Lisbon? And this, I must say, is one of the most frequently asked questions we get. And I'm gonna have to divide the answer in two parts, housing and everything else. I will start with everything else. And I think today, being a capital, being in Europe, Portugal is really relatively inexpensive to live. And what I'm gonna put into that bucket is healthcare. The fact that there is free education, free healthcare, or affordable healthcare. The fact that food is still very affordable, wine is still very affordable, transportation relatively affordable, and I guess with that you have to look at public transportation over owning a car. Owning a car perhaps not as inexpensive as other places, but generally speaking, you have a really high quality of living in Lisbon with an income when compared to other places. And then moving to the other part, and is the part that most people are most concerned about, which is housing. And with the reason, right? Everybody needs a place to live, and the cost of living, of housing, really affects your budget and the fact that if you can or cannot live in a place. And the answer to this question is no. Housing today in Lisbon, especially the rental market, is not affordable. It is competitive to similar cities in the world, right? With other European capitals. Definitely not as expensive as places like London, Paris, New York, San Francisco. But today you can see Lisbon with rent rates comparable to places like Barcelona, Madrid, Amsterdam. So no, it's not affordable, but not extremely expensive either. But really depends what your budget is. If you're in a really tight budget, if you're perhaps thinking of, I need an apartment to live in Lisbon for under €1,000 a month, this is in today's market unlikely to happen. But this is what is important at this point in time, to have a good relocation team to help you educate yourself, to help you plan, and to make sure that Lisbon is the city for you. Thanks very much for watching. If there are any other questions you have, let us know. And feel free to contact us at any time so we can further discuss how we can assist you and your family with relocating and investing in Portugal.